Lovin Dubai. It reaches like about 100 million views. But during these situations, you literally got about 500 million views.
When there's something so crazy, compelling that impacts everyone's lives, people want to know what's going on. So people turn to their phones, to the news.
In this episode of Real Talk with Zenofar, she sits down with Richard Fitzgerald, founder of Augustus Media and Lovin Dubai, to discuss how to portray news responsibly while staying accurate.
You know me as a filmmaker, but basically I have a journalism background. It's basically what angles do you want to give it to the people?
We made a conscious choice to be really conservative from day one. We were conscious of anxiety and we were conscious of the impact.
Do you want to make them not to panic but get the real news, or you would just put it just as it is?
One of the choices obviously was to tone down the anxiety, to be fact-checking, to work with authorities, and to be pro-Dubai.
War is actually fought on social media as well these days. One of the tweets by President Trump saying that the whole civilization is going to die tonight.
Some of the things that have been said are noise and threats and designed to drive fear.
So it's society unrest.
The news might be real, but what happens after that is if I see that the comments are going in a way where there's hate speech or there's panic, then I'm like, well, were we responsible for that?
Everybody knows what is Lovin Dubai. And it reaches like about 100 million views. But during these situations, we noticed, and I'm very curious to know that you literally got about 500 million views. So could you tell me something about that?
Good to speak to you, Zenofar, on the Real Talk podcast. We've met before. We've had you on our show on Lovin Dubai, so it's nice to be on the podcast. Yeah, unprecedented times. And I think, when we look at media and coverage, when there's something so crazy, really, and so compelling that impacts everyone's lives, from the Iran attacks and the impact on the disruption of our daily lives with schools closed, airports closed, and many things. People want to know what's going on, so people turn to their phones, to the news, and to the authorities and to the official pages, and they want to know what's going on. So, you tend to see more consumption in these times when there's a global story, even though you're right in the heart of it, but it is an ongoing global story. And we made a conscious choice on pretty much straight away, that Saturday, the 28th of February, 10 days into Ramadan, we made a conscious choice to be conservative, to be really conservative from day one. You won't, if you go on Lovin Dubai's social or website or anything, you won't see one user-generated video of anything. Everything is sort of, not I wouldn't say fact-checked, but everything is done in line with the authorities, obviously natively editorially, and but it's done in a way where there's so much noise out there, and there's so much news on social media and things like that. And some platforms really do have a problem on fact checking and things like that. But then also we were conscious of anxiety and we were conscious of the impacts. We have a big platform. Lovin Dubai has a lot of reach, for want of a better purpose.
Yeah, your contents are basically mostly it's community, it's sometimes serious, it's sometimes entertainment. So you have everything from A to Z. Lovin Dubai covers everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it is like the city. It's got a bit of a mix of everything. It's a horizontal platform. Sometimes there's a bit of food, a bit of utility, a bit of if the roads are closed or there might be celebs in town. But we do see it like a local news and lifestyle platform, lighter news, tabloidy things like that. But when there's a serious topic going on, you do have a sense of responsibility. Yes, the social media platforms did get 500 million views in Dubai and UAE alone in March, and wider across the region. We have Lovin in 30 cities across the region, and we have extensive other platforms in other verticals like business, sports, entertainment. And yes, it did get that impressions. If we were really chasing metrics that without any accountability or responsibility, it could have easily doubled that. And that's not always the right thing to do, because it's not our mission to, just get loads of billions of views. There's also not really a correlation between that and our business purpose, but also our revenue.
So speaking of the authorities, like they were saying that not to, take pictures or videos and post it and everything. So what do you have to say for this viewers? Why did they exactly say that?
The direction was, get your news from trusted sources and don't believe in fake news. But I think, and that's right? But going a step deeper, that hasn't always been explained, is the reason for this is it's not just that it's fake news or not news. It's like,
it's
why?
A real news.
It could be real news,
yeah.
And it could not be. But even the real news done in a way that has a narrative or an agenda
doesn't panic the people. That's
exactly.
Absolutely.
I think what we learned over the years, and we've been doing Lovin Dubai since 2015, is the news might be real and it might be on our page. But what happens after that is the responsibility of the comment section. And if you're creating, the term that I used to explain to the team is, if we're creating society unrest as a result.
So it's society unrest.
Yes. And in my interpretation, and this hasn't been sort of a direction, but if I see that the comments are going in a way where there's hate speech or there's panic, then I'm like, well, were we responsible for that? And now, like, the same headline or the same image in a newspaper or in something else won't have the same impact because it's not social media and it doesn't have the platform where people can get in a frenzy. So I think a lot of the responsibility, and has been handled over the years, is the social media platform owners. But you're posting on social media, so you also need to be aware of the responsibility, as we do.
So you know me as a filmmaker, but basically I have a journalism background. It's basically, what angles do you want to give it to the people? Do you want to, talk about, make them not to panic, but get the real news? Or you would just put it just as it is? What are your thoughts on that?
As a modern media company, we decided on the outset to have mindset brands. And I know this is just semantics and positioning, but Lovin is Lovin Life. It's age agnostic. It's not really demographic or gender, ethnicity or anything. And it's really for people who are loving life. That's what we say.
That's loving.
Loving life, yeah. People that want to go out and have a good time, want to travel, want to go to the next event, want to have fun together, want to, celebrate the good parts of life. Yes, it's a news outlet. So it's not only Lovin Life. Like, there is a news outlet, but the media lens is Lovin Life. So that's our outlook. And then on Smashi, we say a tagline is for the driven, the dreamers, the doers. So, on one level, I always joke, like, the Lovin people are people who watch Friends or listen to music, whereas the Smashi people are learning code, or they're watching a documentary, or they're being inspired in different ways. Humans can do both, obviously, but I think media brands need to be consistent,
right?
And they, media brands need to almost be inhuman in a sense that they need to be disciplined. So we've kept Lovin quite disciplined to that extent. And again, going back to at times like this, we also don't want to be. It's not that we don't want to be. You just shouldn't, if you're trying to capture the zeitgeist of the city and the times, then you shouldn't be irrelevant. Like, you shouldn't just be posting about nice restaurants.
Absolutely.
When there's major world events happening in your city.
Yeah.
So we also make that conscious decision that if you read Lovin Dubai, or if you consume Lovin Dubai over 10 years, you're going to get a feel of the sense of the change of the city. But if you pick up another type of a platform, you might even know what's happening, because they're just focused on one thing, which is fine. But we're always sort of trying to marry those two things and manage those two things, those polar opposites together as well. But in terms of the lens, it's hard to have a Lovin Life approach to what's going on. But one of the choices obviously was to tone down the anxiety, to be fact checking, to work with authorities, and to be pro Dubai. Like, the lens it's in the name. It's Lovin Dubai. We defend Dubai. When Western media is attacking Dubai from day one,
we support Dubai.
Yeah, it's a community. People love it here. And you saw the reaction.
We know that war is actually fought on social media as well these days. So we have this, one of the tweets made by President Trump saying that the whole civilization is going to die tonight. What are your thoughts on that? In the sense, when you cover it as a news, would you cover it in a panic way, or would you put it like in a subtle way for your viewers to actually get the right thing on board?
Yeah, I think we need to be in control of what we consume to a degree. We need to make choices, and we also need to compartmentalize, what's real world and what isn't in terms of attention and sound bites and headlines. And obviously, we feel the ramifications of leaders' decisions. But I personally would try to differentiate what's actually happening and leaders' decisions versus noise. And I think some of the things that have been said are noise and threats and designed to drive fear on all sides. And I think it's very hard not to be sucked into it because you feel impact and not to be compelled by it. But I do think you need to call it for what it is. And some of it is noise, some of it is threat, some of it is fear mongering, some of it is sensationalist and and designed for that effect and designed to negotiate and whatever. So, and I think some of these situations you can actually turn the other way. You can actually, and I think some of our media has turned the other way. We've tried to focus on the good things that are happening in the city and in the region. We've broadcasted many sports games. We've focused on many business deals and
That's right.
fundraising.
I've been watching that. Yeah.
And we focused on lots of good community stories of people getting together and doing lots of things like. And I think that's one of the things that we've done in terms of like, was it said and did it happen? Yeah, but oftentimes, in terms of those statements, we might choose not to put it on the UAE platforms. We might do it on Lovin Tehran or something else, or Lovin Palestine or something like that. But we might sort of decide that, well, these sort of comments might have indirect impact on here, but they're not necessarily for full attention and full takeover of mind share in that given day.
Okay. So right now we are in ceasefire for 2 weeks. And which means that we're also, there's nothing been for 2 days and we're all hoping that everything gets fine. But what is your thought on that? Because you are into media. So, what do you think it could be? Could it stop, or is it just a halt, or is it just a pause for some time?
We are in Dubai and we're having this conversation in Dubai, but our Augustus Media and my responsibility is to our team across the region as well. And we've 8 offices in 6 countries. And, it's not actually a ceasefire in places where we have people. We have people in Gaza, we have people in Beirut. A lot of commentators are sort of doing pattern recognition and drawing parables to what's happening in Dubai today to the pandemic. And that's because that's their view. But since then, we've had October 7th. We've had many other situations that have impacted this region, our people and our teams. And so it's for me, there's many things that are happening all the time. We have an office in Pakistan. We have an office in Saudi. We have an office. We had an operation in Sudan, and we have love in Khartoum, but we haven't got people on the ground there at the moment because we've had to relocate them. And so, I'm just not going to look at it from a 2-day ceasefire Dubai lens because I just can't.
You're just going to guard yourself right now because you really don't know what's going to happen, but you're still not sure about it.
It's just, there's just so much uncertainty, and there's so much basically war and bad actors in the region. And, the UAE has done such a good job at keeping us safe from all extremist ideologies for so long. And that's why so many of us love it here. And we just wish it would be like that everywhere. But the fact is that it's not. And it's you can't be totally blasé about it. Yes, from a Dubai narrative, it is a ceasefire and we're safe, alhamdulillah, and it's great. However, we're in a region and we have offices and teams, and many people have family in cities and countries. Since the ceasefire was announced, we saw what happened in Lebanon, right? And there's up to 300,000 residents in the UAE from Lebanon, and many others who are there doing businesses that have Gulf investors and etc. So it's just it's hard to sort of like breathe a full sigh of relief when these things are announced.
That's right. But one amazing thing which I would like to, even discuss with you is that I think the whole world did not know how UAE has really done an amazing part in keeping us safe, because that's something like, till now, everything is good. Everything is opened. We are safe. We are able to buy things. Hospitals opens, medicines available. Everything is so great about here.
Such a good
Isn't
point.
it?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, because that's great. A lot of people did panic of this situation. So did you ever cover on that? I've never, not much have I seen on your, on your portal.
Yeah. So I think to your point, not only have we been protected with the armed services, the armed forces, and the alerts and everything that's happened. But you're right, life did go on. We mentioned off air, I have a newborn, and we were able to take her to the medics and everything has been fine. And we it was during Ramadan, people still went out for iftars.
Yeah, there was a lot of social services also going on. And you had covered a lot of events.
Yeah, we covered a lot of things. Things did change, but there was a lot of dinners, there was a lot of activity. People, the malls open, the restaurants open, the sheikhs were in the malls. There was so much positivity.
Yeah.
I remember attending a media suhoor, in the middle of Ramadan, and it was so positive with how people were reacting to everything, and it was packed. It was so busy. So I think the ones who did sort of venture out a little bit, and I appreciate that people were sort of staying in a bit. But yeah, we don't cover as I said, we sort of focus on not inciting the panic. I think people were doing that maybe in some groups and things like that. And I also think there's a responsibility of, if you are moderators of private groups, that you need to be responsible as well. But we avoided the oversharing. We avoided the panic. We didn't want that. We wanted to, yes, give people the factual things. We were in touch with our authorities. They were saying this message is important to put on your platform, and
especially
we would do
when
it. They
said we're all Emiratis. Would you? That's such a beautiful thing to say.
Yeah. There's so much positivity around that. That was, and everyone felt like we're in this together. Especially even in the media. Everyone felt like let's stick together on this on Dubai, and let's stick together in the region. And we did that. So we avoided a lot of the panic, and we focused on the positivity. And a lot of the Western media, it's almost laughable. Like when you read some of the stuff, like it's really. What
can you tell me some of this stuff?
Yeah, there's just some crazy articles in like authoritative titles. Like I won't name them, but like I used to respect these titles a lot.
Tell me, what did they say? Don't name them, but you can tell them.
I think the headlines, we're all fear-mongering of like the Dubai bubble has burst. That sort of, that sense of safety doesn't exist anymore, and things like that.
I think that's basically jealousy.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Because everybody is jealous of Dubai. That's what I personally felt that. But I think, it's an amazing place, and we've been, I don't know how long, you've been here for 20 years now, right?
Nearly 15 years.
15 years. And I've been here for 30 years.
I don't think this is an existential threat to Dubai or the UAE. I still believe in the leadership, still believe in the country. So I don't think it's time to up sticks at all. Me and my family are happy here. We want to live here for the foreseeable future. And I think they've done an incredible job. And the Western media is going to be Western media.
Our president has said UAE is going to emerge stronger than ever. What are your comments on that?
Firstly, it's great leadership. We need statements. We need leadership. We need direction. And I think the leadership in this region has shown itself to be great leadership in comparison with others at the moment. And it's really one of the reasons people are so proud to live here. So it's great leadership. In terms of believing in the re-emergence of Dubai and the UAE economically, and everything that it stands for, tolerance, civility, and the melting pot of cultures that it has fostered over the last 50 or so years, I fully believe in that. I do think it's the century of the modern Arab Gulf states, and I think the whole world is a sort of multipolar world now. And we're in one of those polars, and we're in a great one. And I think, yes, it's been a challenge, and we have no real timeline on this, but I would be really optimistic. I'm
really thinking that in 3 to 6 months it's going to be stronger than ever. And I think we need to be more, faster according to the pace how these guys are going to, really do it.
I totally agree. And we made the conscious decision not to do any cuts in budgets and staff and anything. Like, we just announced our new office in Oman. We went ahead with our investment into real estate space in Egypt. We believe in our team. We believe in our digital first approach. We believe in our multi-regional revenue streams and offices. And, on one level, we have more time to work together now.
Very good, yeah.
To
create
build
more ideas.
Yes.
Something different.
Yeah, more stories, more
Yeah.
platforms. We're investing a lot into streaming. There's a Lovin Dubai TV channel now.
Wow.
And
Tell me something about it.
So it's basically a linear OTT streaming channel on LG channels and soon to be Samsung TV Plus. It's 24 hours.
So what is it? What are the contents in that? What exactly
It's
does
a
it carry?
city lifestyle guide. You can see the best places to go. You can
Okay.
see the Lovin Dubai show. You can see our IP series like Love and Life. You can see we did Love and Majlis series over Ramadan. So it's some originals, but a lot is still our sort of real-time, non-scripted
So
content.
this clearly shows that we have not stopped. We are just running even now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. To put it into context, and you asked about the staff. Yes, we have to be aware that it is a difficult time. There are feelings of anxiety. We can't be blasé and oblivious to the fact that we are going through tough times. Like there were times where we did have optional work from home until the end of Ramadan. So people.
But I
wouldn't
can
be,
still see everybody's there right now in your office.
Everyone's here now, there's, but there were times where, we didn't want people to be out in the road when the alerts are going off and things like that. So we gave people options. We allowed more flexibility during those times. And, but now it's sort of, we are not, I wouldn't say doubling down, but we're definitely sort of not cutting back. We have our plans, we have our focus. And, when the economy is flying, it's great, but things move really fast and you don't really get a chance to breathe. You don't really get a chance to stop because you're going from event to event to event. And when we grew quite fast and when we added new offices and new people, we might have had time to train them, but we didn't have time to really work together.
That's right. And now you're doing that.
Now we're doing that. So there's positives, there's blessings, and you have to sort of focus on. You have to see the good in all that. Yes, we're probably going to have a financial impact this year, but alhamdulillah, since the pandemic, the Gulf economies have been so good, and we've been doing well. And now's the time not to be greedy,
right?
To sort of reinvest.
I think sensible.
Sensible.
You need to be sensible.
You do.
Yeah. So taking over from sensible, what would you advise other media companies right now?
Yeah, I think everyone, I don't want to preach and direct other
it's
people.
It's an advice.
Yeah.
Because you're an amazing, Lovin Dubai is an amazing portal, So,
yeah, I think people everyone knows how to operate their own house and their own entity. But I would believe in the region. I would believe in digital. I think, if you want a chance to do digital transformation, if you're a legacy media company, continue to invest in digital. We've got AI. We've got all the, tailwinds behind digital consumption for streaming, for podcasting, for social media. So, newsletters, message groups, there's so many things that are happening. I really believe in the region. I really believe in the stories we can tell in the region. So I think now's the time to do more of that as other media companies. And I don't think, if you can at all survive, I don't think now's the time to cut back. As long as you can be sensible, as long as you can survive, but you need to be realistic about it as well. Like you don't need to bleed too much. Like companies shouldn't bleed. Like you need responsibility. Like there's one responsibility of, keeping staff and keeping targets, but at the same time, you can't do something that if you don't make decisions now, you could end up having to get rid of everyone in a year or two, because we sit here positively, and this is a very positive conversation. We're positive about UAE, positive about Dubai. But there are things outside of UAE's and Dubai's control. Like there's macroeconomic factors. There, Dubai does really well when there's global recessions and things like that, or bounces
even
back.
During COVID,
incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Incredible, and like how they attracted so many content creators here. There's so many initiatives, and we really expect that to happen again. But at the same time, you need to be sensible, as you said. You need to be responsible.
Yeah.
Because if you say I'm not not cutting back and I'm not doing anything, I'm being bullish, and then there's something that impacts everyone, and then you end up shutting down, and then, well, if you cut back a little bit, you mightn't have had to completely shut down. So you have to be a bit smart as well.
Like on the other day, I just went to one of the schools and they told me like 100 families have left from the school. So I just want to know, like, what, of course, we are here, but what kind of people have left Dubai?
I really don't think Dubai has a population issue. I really don't. Like,
It's just flooded.
No,
people are just coming.
I think they if they wanted to double the population of this city, even now they could do it tomorrow.
Just like this.
Yeah, they really could. They could open up complete different visa system, and they could, like, the demand to live in this city even now is really, really high. People make their own decisions given, spring breaks and proximity and different things, and people from certain countries might be influenced by media and loved ones at home, and young people living alone here might need to be with their parents and other stuff like that. Yeah. So there's other factors, but in terms of Dubai and exodus, like it's nothing for them to worry about, for Dubai to worry about. I really don't think so.
Yeah, so that's lovely. So it's been really lovely to talk to you on Real Talk with Zen. And do you have anything else to say, Richard?
It's great that there's momentum in podcasting and media, and that we're having these positive conversations while this is happening in person about Dubai, about the future. We're a young company, it's a young city. And I think we'll be here for many years to come. And I think we'll look back, inshallah, and we'll look back at this time and we'll think how crazy it was. I really believe in the future, believe in Dubai, Middle East, the Gulf countries, and modern media. And I think there's future's bright apart from all this. And in the future, we'll look back at this and be thankful and grateful that we got through it.
I think we will not even remember this, because after a few weeks, everything is going to be better, stronger. And I think people are not even going to remember this, what happened, even us, So I think, we're positive.
Yeah, we'll bounce back for sure.
We will bounce back.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.